Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm Patty Miner, the COO at Extra Search Marketing. We're thrilled to be presenting this webinar to you today with Google. And just a couple of logistics. At any point in the webinar, you have the option to send in your questions. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of your window. Click that button and you can send in your questions to us. We'll be collecting all the questions and answering them at the end of our presentation. Okay, let's get started. Today's topic is Google's best practices for engaging your energy customers in 2019. We have a packed agenda today. We'll be covering the trends for 2019 in the energy sector. We'll also share with you campaign best practices and ways to increase your conversion. We'll share some campaign opportunities outside of search, some of which were just introduced this year by Google. And we'd love to give you some information about partnering and working with us at XtraP. Thank you so much for being here, and now I'll turn this over to your presenters, Jim and Eric.
Thank you so much, Patty. Appreciate that. Hi, Eric. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for attending the webinar today. We look forward to discussing all sorts of great topics today. As a brief introduction, my name is Jim Hammerl. I am the CEO of XtraP Search Marketing. We work specifically with energy clients to communicate and engage with their clients and prospects. And we do that by developing and implementing search strategies to support their goals.
Awesome. And I'm Eric Geibel. I am a new to Google client education specialist here at Google. I work with a handful of our premier partner agencies, one of which is XtraP. My primary role is to educate clients that haven't utilized our digital advertising platforms an extended period of time about the opportunities that are available to them. Really excited to chat today through some ideas I have, as well as some trends that we're seeing from a Google perspective in the retail energy sector.
Great.
Cool. So with that being said, I think that just serves as a nice transition and segue into some of the data and statistics that we're seeing here at Google. So what we're seeing is in Q3 of 2018, our most recent closed quarter, as far as data is concerned, that 60.9% of all power and electricity searches originated on mobile devices. That is hugely powerful data and information to know, because what it tells me is that retail energy consumers expect access to information at the tip of to be basically at the tip of their devices, right? So essentially, what you need to think about as a business is what are the ways in which your customers are going to interact with you. What sort of tactics are you taking across all of our advertising platforms? And then based upon the knowledge of where searches are coming from, what sort of messaging and what sort of ways of interaction are you providing for your consumers and for your clients? We'll touch upon that a little bit more, but the key point to drive home here is that we are living in a mobile-first world, and it's highly, highly important for your energy company or your utility company to be able to be mobily responsive. Additionally, one of the benefits of working with a Google Premier partner is having access to data and information. Having access to data and information could help from a planning perspective as well as a budgeting perspective. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to get a better sense of when there's high amounts of searches for people looking for answers to their energy-related questions or their power-related questions, and then at what point in times are the cost per clicks in terms of the Google search auction at their highest. And what we want to do is we want to work a delicate balance of volume as well as acquisition cost. And so in terms of companies that work with XtraP, we'll do a very detailed consulting session in which we'll look at data such as this, but in much more detail in order to provide some insights and some advice in terms of how much you should spend, what types of keywords you should bid on, when you should get aggressive with your budgets, when you should not get aggressive with your budgets, so on and so forth, based upon your particular business needs. Obviously, these trends are looking at the United States as a whole, but what we see from Google is that searches appear to be highest between June and October. Obviously, that's due to the high summer months and the electricity bills. Most likely, the September searches are the highest due to the fact August is the hottest month of the year. Folks will be getting their bills and wanting to understand how they could save money after that. And then October is obviously kind of the start of the winter season. So people at that point in time are probably going to be doing much more discovery and are really curious to kind of learn about ways in which they could save money or enroll in assistance programs that a lot of energy and utility companies have to offer. So I wanted just to walk you through just kind of a brief example of a particular, of a client example, specifically how it would apply to the consumer path to purchase for retail energy. So here is Claire. She's 62 years old and she lives in Michigan, right? Ultimately, what her end goal is to find relevant information about how to lower her NextEra energy bill without having to utilize a call center, right? I think as an energy company, if you could limit the amount of interactions your clients have to have with you guys, whether it's with call centers or whether it's with, via phone consultations, whatever it may be, ultimately, if you could provide consumers with the information that they need via your website without having to have any human interaction, that's going to lower the cost of overhead for you guys as a business and enable you to focus more on some of the cool initiatives and programs that you might want to roll out. So thinking about this particular woman, Claire, the first search that she would probably make in terms of coming to this realization of finding relevant info in terms of how to lower her energy bill is the first step in the purchase was what we call a long tail non-branded search. That would be done on a mobile device. So she might open up her energy bill, and as soon as she's walking from her porch where she received her bill to her living room, she might be searching, why is my energy bill so high on her mobile device? Another reason in which I brought up the mobile point is a lot of energy and utility companies are now utilizing paperless billing. So they would immediately already be on their on their mobile device when they got their bill, and so they would immediately just go into their browser and search, why is my energy bill so high? As a business and as an energy company, this is an opportunity you want to ensure that your company is at the top of the search results, so that if a user that's within your market has a question about why their energy bill is so high, you could direct them and provide them with valuable resources in order for them to get their questions addressed. So the first part of the process may be, okay, why is my energy bill so high? She reads information on your website about ways in which you could reduce energy. Based upon that, there'll be further searches centered around, okay, hey, what are some ways in which I could reduce energy? From there might be a branded search for your business. After that, she will have found all of the relevant information she needs. And then, maybe the resolution she draws is, hey, I want to install a Nest Smart Home to answer, to address the issues that I'm having with my energy bill to help save in efficiency. Another option would be she enrolls in a program with the energy company in order to help save money. But as you can see, there's lots of different touch points and lots of different potential ways in which a consumer might be searching for information related to energy efficiency or energy cost savings. One resource that I always like to help point out whenever I do any of these webinars is Think with Google. So if you just search test my site and then Think with Google after that, it'll take you to this website. The average American consumer expects their mobile sites to load in 3 seconds or less. I highly encourage everyone on this webinar today to go test their business site speed to see what it loads at. If you have a slow loading M site, you're likely to lose money in the form of productivity, as users will get either frustrated with the load time of your site or not be able to find relevant information quick enough and then go consult an additional source. So ultimately, probably one of the things and one of the reasons you attended this webinar today is you probably want to get some better understanding from Google about who cares about consumer energy consumption and why does that matter to you as a business, and what are some ways in which you could action on it. So in 2013, we actually utilized what's called a Google Consumer Survey, in which we polled people by providing access to content on either the Google Display Network or YouTube, but before we allowed access to that content, we asked them about their views on energy consumption. So in 2013, 43 million people in the US were actively seeking energy education. Whereas today, 5 years later, that number's up to 57 million people. A lot of that is most likely due to changing preferences, which we'll talk about later on, and more consumers now being millennials versus baby boomers. So it's really important for the energy and utility companies to be able to adapt to changing consumer preferences, because obviously there is much more interest and people are actively caring a lot more about what goes into their energy bills. The thing that I think is really important from a consumer behavior standpoint is that we went from having 71 million to 108 million people care about how energy impacts their daily lives. I think a lot of this is spun on by the fact that as humanity, right, we're much more conscious about the environment in which we live in. Massive topics such as global warming, as well as pollution, as well as consumer trade has been prompted to the forefront of American politics. And I think the younger generations are far more likely to care about how energy impacts their daily lives. So I think this is an opportunity for energy and utility companies to utilize Google search ads or YouTube video ads to show what they're doing in the community and how they're working to improve energy efficiency, clean energy, eliminate waste, eliminate pollution, and really appeal to that core demographic. So speaking of kind of topics that are of high importance, I touched upon some of these in the previous slide, but really electricity, oil and gas, nuclear energy, and renewable energy are all really important topics to consumers today. And one of the great basically moderators and forums for this conversation and for these topics is YouTube. In 2018, thus far, year to date, there are 70 million plus views on content related to these topics. What I think is most staggering is the massive year-over-year increases in terms of how many more people are turning to YouTube to get information around electricity, oil and gas, nuclear energy, and renewable energy. Personally, I recently became a homeowner about 2 months ago. My first energy bill came probably about 3 weeks ago, actually. And my first reaction was, okay, $102 for my energy bill seems pretty high, right? I wasn't necessarily sure like what to base it off of or what to look at. So I actually went on YouTube and I wrote how to read your energy bill, because there's a lot of things within the bill that I actually had no clue what was being referred to as far as the various different wattages go. The next step that I took was I then just sought out further information about ways in which I could actually reduce energy consumption. And then even had a conversation with one of my buddy's girlfriends who sells solar panels in order to think about ways in which I could explore it. So YouTube was really kind of the first place that I turned to learn more about how I could reduce my energy and electricity. I think that I'm a lot I think I fall into that category of folks that are going to care more and more about their energy bills, as well as socially conscious about the way in which pollution plays a role in their everyday lives. So I think having messaging for your business to these types of consumers is going to be really, really relevant, especially as homeowners get more and more homeowners, apartment owners are more used to having technology as a part of their everyday lives. So here's just an example of the search that I actually made. It's how to reduce energy consumption. And we're going to talk a lot more about YouTube later on. But I absolutely love YouTube because it's an opportunity for people to post their videos. But it's also an opportunity for businesses to run what we call TrueView ads. And what a TrueView ad is, just to give you kind of a high-level baseline, is essentially as an advertiser, you're only going to pay if a user watches 30 full seconds of your video. So if a user clicks out of, and I'm sure you've seen YouTube videos before, and after 5 seconds, when you have the option to skip, you'll skip. That's great. Obviously, the content that's not being served to you isn't engaging. And so from a business standpoint, we don't want you to have to pay for users that don't actively engage with your video content. That's why we call it a true view. So just when thinking about anything YouTube related that I talk about or bring up, you are only paying for an engagement in which a user watches 30 seconds of your video, of whatever video you may be trying to promote. And that's a seismic shift from any sort of energy and utility company that is used to advertising on traditional media, more so specifically television. Cool. So I had touched upon this earlier, but here's where kind of we get a little bit more rich in content as it relates to consumer behavior. So in 2016, millennials surpassed baby boomers as the largest segment of U.S. consumers. So I am a PG&E customer here in Northern California as I work at the Google headquarters. I did, after that example of talking about kind of how I wanted to reduce my energy bill and my consumption, I searched for various different apps. There's a PG&E app. There's a PG&E toolkit, so you can track your actual energy usage and think about ways in which you can reduce your usage. I utilize my Nest app. Obviously, being a Google employee, got to give a plug for Nest since we own them from an energy and utility perspective. But it's been great in terms of me allowing to easily change when I have my heat on, when I have my lights on, what power I have them on. Really, there's going to be, especially as these devices that we offer get cheaper and cheaper, and they connect the home more than ever, it's going to be really, really important for businesses to create really robust and rich app experiences that are going to help with energy and utility bills, explain things, provide more detail in terms of what's going on. This is obviously not an energy company, but it's a utility company. I was really impressed when I got my first AT&T DirecTV bill. The first 2 times I got my bill, they actually had a tutorial and a walkthrough demo in terms of how to read and interpret my bill. I think if you could think about ways in which you could do this from an energy industry standpoint, that's going to be absolutely game-changing for your business and eliminate a lot of calls to your call centers that are going to be costly and time-consuming for your business. So another thing that we're also noticing, and something that I think all energy and utility companies should be aware of, is, I'm sure most of you know this, but 2018, from a Google standpoint, from data, we really saw that 2018 was the year of the electric vehicle. The amount of searches related to electric vehicles absolutely skyrocketed, as well as long tail searches. And when I say long tail searches, I just mean people searching for more than just electric vehicle, people searching for how to maximize the investment in my electric vehicle, or how to find free charging stations for my electric vehicle. Things such as those lines, those are really, really important. And I think what we're seeing is a shift from automakers having expensive electric vehicles to providing very affordable electric vehicles. So think from a business perspective around what sort of rebate or incentive programs you might have for maybe households that have multiple electric vehicles or multiple plugins that are required, and being able to provide information around that, especially depending on location, right? If you are a more rural energy and utility company, probably not going to be as many searches related to electric vehicles or questions or customer complaints about them. But if you're located in a major metropolitan area in which electric vehicles are prevalent, I highly, highly recommend thinking about a strategy in which on Google search, you could either bring people in to your energy company's website that explains the benefits associated with utilizing maybe a public charging station versus that of a private charging station. Different things to think about, but just from a Google standpoint, we see that electric vehicles and the prevalence of them are only going to continue to increase moving into 2019. So speaking of what's ahead in 2019, we did some third-party research. Obviously, from a Google perspective and looking at data, right, we can only understand what people are searching for. And as mentioned, about 61% of searches in the most recently closed quarter across the United States were done on mobile for all things related to energy and power. But in looking at some third-party data and information, we see that energy prices are expected to rise 3.2% in 2019, which will represent the highest price jump in 5 years. So think about it from your perspective. If you're hit with a bill that's much higher than what you normally expect, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go on Google and you're going to search for more information in terms of why my bill is so high. The second thing you're probably going to want to do is you're probably going to want to find a way to lower your bill. And so one of the things is there's going to be added cost pressures on the market in 2019. And so there's going to be third-party providers such as turn.org who are going to capitalize this and take advantage of this and try and find ways in which they can work with your customers, lower their bills. It's really, really, really important that you don't allow this to happen if you want to protect the best interests of your business, because you want the actual energy and utility company to have that first conversation with the customer so that you ensure that you retain their business, as well as you ensure that you are able to enroll them in the assistance and preventative programs that are most valuable to your business, as well as educational as well. So with that being said, now that we have kind of an understanding of what's ahead in 2019, I want to turn things over to Jim so he could talk to you a little bit more about how you could act on this.
Thank you so much, Eric. Fascinating data from Google, so thank you so much for sharing that. So 2019, because of the increased costs that we're seeing or that have been forecasted, it's going to be a really critical year for maintaining solid customer communications. You don't want, as Eric alluded to have a third party controlling that conversation on your behalf. And so examples of ways that you can create a positive customer and brand experience are simple programs like energy efficiency programs, offering home energy audits, weatherization tips for homeowners, offering appliance rebates for smart energy appliances, offering assistance for low income audiences, and giving people an option to change their rate plan. Simple things like that, small programs and campaigns that we can put out there in 2019 to assist people with any kind of cost challenges that they may be challenged with. So why search? Xtrepy is a paid search agency. We've been focused on search for years, but that really came only through testing. And so I want to kind of walk you through what are the basics of search. Why do we choose to focus specifically on search for these customer outreach and awareness programs? First of all, with Google Ads, it's very, very flexible. We've got flexible spending, flexible budgets. We can stop and start at any time. There's no minimum ad buys. We don't cut a check for $10,000 and then cross our fingers and hope for something. It's turn on and turn off whenever we see fit, at whatever spend level we see fit. It's extremely cost efficient. And this is the number one point that I really want to drive home is it's far more cost efficient than any other channel that we've seen. There's no markup on ad spend. We are billed on a CPC basis, a cost per click basis versus a CPM. So we're not buying impressions, we're only buying action. And that's really important. Another add-on to that is it's done in an auction format. And that means that we're always getting market rates. We are competing against other people bidding on those, that inventory, that audience, or those target keywords. And so that's an important note to make across other digital tactics is that this is CPC. We are only paying for action. We also don't have to include any kind of IAS or brand safety or ad serving fees, which just really eliminates or minimizes the ad spend that you actually have to make an impactful impression on people. Because of the search text ads and because Google has responsive display ads, it reduces the creative time required to create banner ads and things of that nature. Putting together a text ad is really, really fast. So we can get a campaign built and deployed pretty rapidly. So with Google, we've got a lot more control with our media buys. So in addition to the starting and stopping, we also have some pretty unique targeting capabilities. We've got cross-device and cross-channel, and we'll talk about the different channels here in a moment. But we also have customer match audiences where we can basically take people from your customer CRM system and target those people with ads specifically based on their email address, phone number, names, and things of that nature. So we're not necessarily messaging to the haystack, we're messaging to the needles that you really need to. Also, most websites out there are using some sort of analytical program. If you're using Google Analytics, that's great because there's an integration between Google Analytics and Google Ads that allows us to remarket to people who have visited certain sections on your website or pages and who have not converted, who have not engaged with you or enrolled in a program. And it's easy to get those people to come back and finish the job that we're hoping that they do. Google Ads also offers some smart bidding options. So if your goal is to maximize reach across your audience, we can do that. If your goal is an acquisition campaign to get people to enroll in a specific program or to download a rebate form, things of that nature are easy to do with these automated bidding strategies that we can really tell Google's servers and machine logic to really focus in on the people that are going to be completing the actions that we want them to complete. So I just want to give an example. This is an example residential campaign for an energy utility company that we've been working with. This campaign is still running. It has been running for years, but this snapshot is from 2017 to 2018. And I just wanted to show the audience here kind of a breakdown in terms of what we're seeing in terms of cost per acquisition. This was an acquisition campaign. We're getting residential customers to enroll in a specific program. And you can see that Google search came in at the lowest cost per acquisition of $6.68. We also ran Gmail ads, which delivers an ad impression directly to someone's Gmail inbox. If they're using G Suite, which is the business product that Google offers at work, we're also able to offer or issue ad impressions to their inboxes as well. You can see we had a $23 cost per acquisition there. And then programmatic display, which would be like your typical banner ad media buy. We were getting a close to a $26 CPA there. Paid social, we were getting a much higher cost per acquisition there, $144. And then digital radio, they didn't even have the capability to track conversions, which is great because Google, we can really track everything from start to finish in terms of how many clicks, how many impressions, how many conversions do we drive, and what was our overall return on our investment. So because of this type of campaign and results that we've seen across the board for campaigns like this, we said, let's really just focus in on what works, and that's why we're here today. One of the great things about Google is most people think that, okay, Google Ads, you go to Google, you type in a keyword, and then you see an ad. Google actually has a full funnel offering, and whether it's the Google Display Network, which was an extremely large, if not the largest display network online right now, leveraging third-party websites to get display banner ad impressions, or whether it's, as Eric has spoke to before, TrueView video ads on YouTube and also video partners, or through Gmail. We're really able to attack people and capture attention through the full funnel process. And so as you can see here, we've got the three main funnel, that awareness, consideration, and conversion. And we've got different tactics that really approach each one of those different funnel segments. And I
think one of the key things to highlight and point out on that previous slide is that this isn't just across one medium. This isn't just across a computer, right? This could be across a tablet. This could be across a mobile device. And in the future, it'll probably be even across Google Assistant or Google Home, right? One of the things that I think everyone should be thinking about as we head into 2019 is what is a full funnel approach in terms of how we could interact with our customers. And Google provides that. So whether it be video, display ads, search ads, Gmail ads, based upon whatever your needs are, probably an individual consultation of your business and what you're doing in other forms of media would help us kind of have a clear understanding of what we would recommend. But this is what we call cross-channel and then cross-device as well.
That's a good point. Thanks, Eric. And also Smart TV, which is the fourth device that's out there now that we're starting to get reporting on in ad impressions for as well. So that's coming down the pike soon. That's exciting. I just want to take a quick deep dive into the different search audiences just to give people an example of how we leverage these search audiences to really maximize the impact that we're getting from these campaigns and to get the best results. So going back to our funnel approach, we've got our awareness, consideration, and conversion portions of the funnel here. And as you can see, we've got audiences where we can effectively market to and message these different audiences across these three different portions of the funnel. So as you take a look at the awareness side, we can really target people by demographics and detailed demographics, which we'll go into in a little bit. We can target people by affinity. What are they interested in? What types of things do they like? And then also people who are in market. So through Google's algorithms and machine learning, they're able to tell what people are currently and actively searching for and looking to purchase. So if it's business loan or electric vehicle charging, things of that nature, like we can capture those people based on what they're currently looking for. On the consideration portion of the funnel, same thing with in-market audiences. That's a great consideration funnel tactic. Similar audiences, so we can find people who have converted in the past and create lookalike lists and target those people as well. And then obviously remarketing lists for search ads. So people who show up on your website, don't convert, don't enroll, don't engage with your content. Maybe they're busy. We can remarket to those people to get them to come back and finish their journey. Now, on the conversion side of things, creating remarketing lists for search ads, and then also the customer match audiences, which essentially means taking your CRM data, your customer lists, and Google then matches those people with their email address, phone numbers, addresses, etc., and creates a custom audience for that so that we can target, again, specifically those needles and eliminate the haystack. Pretty powerful stuff. Under the drive awareness, I just want to give you some examples of like the types of users and demographic or of targeting that we have capabilities for. Under the demographics, obviously age, gender, whether they're homeowners or renters, which is great for residential campaigns, education levels, and then parents or non-parents. We can really slice and dice our audiences. And then affinity, again, what are people interested in? Are they sports fans? Are they into cooking? Are they into energy efficiency? Are they into green power? Any kind of affinity audience we can create and customize for each one of our campaigns, which is great.
And the detailed demographics product is actually something that was in beta at the first half of 2018. And Jim conveyed to me one of his clients had really, really strong specifics in terms of what they were looking for from a rebate program. A very, very specific demographic that they wanted to target on search. So this was super powerful because for that specific offer and for that specific program, right, we weren't wasting any sort of budget because as Jim alluded to earlier, you pay on a CPC basis. We weren't wasting any of that company's budget on clicks that weren't geared exactly precisely to their target user of who they wanted to serve their ads for. So I think it's really important from a business perspective when you're working with your agency to give them extremely, extremely clear details around the types of profiles and the types of consumers that you'd like to run specific offers for, because this worked beautifully for that client. And we saw really, really strong returns on that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks, Eric. On the consideration side of things with our in-market audiences, we can find people, for example, who are looking for energy efficiency, who, like Eric, were actively pursuing ways to reduce their energy bill. We can even find on the commercial side of things, businesses who are looking for business loans and offer them some sort of energy efficiency financing if that's something that, that your organization offers. Similar to audiences are essentially lookalike lists. So let's take the people who have engaged with us in the fashion that we had hoped they would, and let's go find other people that look just like them. And so that's a great way for us to really expand our reach and get even more engagement and even more conversions through our funnel. And then on the remarketing list side of things, that's pretty straightforward. Everyone's been to, say, Amazon and not purchased something, and then all of a sudden a picture of whatever that was follows you around the internet. We have the capability to do remarketing targeting as well. So if, again, someone shows up to your website, doesn't complete the intended action, we will continue to market to them and message to them to get them to come back and do what we hope that they do. On the drive conversion side of things, again, so we're utilizing our remarketing list, people who are engaged currently or people who maybe went to a form submission page or a registration page or an enrollment page and maybe did not complete that. We can go out and find people that look just like those people, and then also block people who have completed that intended action and no longer market to them so we don't have to pester them. And then customer match, which is extremely powerful. I really want to emphasize this. It really eliminates any kind of ad spend waste that most digital partners have. We're specifically going after the people that we need to go after on a cross-device method.
And just to provide one caveat, customer match, we actually recently made some changes to. At Google, we ultimately care a lot about user data and privacy, and we don't want any of your clients' information exposed. So we already aggregated the data and then randomized it in terms of tying specific email addresses, phone numbers, et cetera, to clients, and just randomizing it. But what we have gone ahead and done is actually accounts are only eligible to utilize customer match after working with Google for a 90-day period of time. So we're just ensuring that information is being used in the appropriate and proper ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. Some of our clients have got concerns about PII, personal identifiable information, in those customer match audiences. And Google, basically, you upload the data to Google either in a normal or hashed format, and then Google anonymizes that data, and it can never be extracted again. So if you have data that you need to upload, the agency partner that you have would not have capability to download and recapture that information. So as we take a look at like the different customer segments that we have and the different goals that we have, it's really important to put specific KPIs around those, that we really know what we're going after. And so, for instance, if our goal was to increase brand awareness, our KPIs might be: how many visitors do we get to the website? What was their visit duration? How can we increase that over time? What was their engagement rate? What kind of CTRs did we get? Under the consideration phase, obviously we want to have people converting and enrolling into programs, subscribing for things, downloading an app if you offer an app. What's our cost per conversion? How can we lower that and optimize towards that? And then on the drive conversions, it's, how many repeat visitors can we get, and what's the lifetime value of those visitors, and how can we increase that lifetime value? On this slide, what I did was put together kind of the gradient of different strategies that we use in terms of audience targeting. So on the basic side, on the far left there, you can see that targeting people through remarketing lists, customer match audiences, and things of that nature, all the way to the far right-hand side, where we're bidding or bid adjusting on different segments within an audience to really make sure that we're achieving the goals that we want to at the correct price point and KPI that we need. And I'm going to turn it back over to Eric. Eric's going to talk about why Google is more than just search. I alluded to this before, but it offers a full funnel approach, and Eric's going to talk a little bit about what else Google search is.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm really excited about is a new product that we're rolling out is YouTube for Action. I'm assuming a lot of the participants that are on this webinar have utilized some sort of TV or traditional media ads in the past to really cast a wide net, especially for energy and utility companies. But one of the great things about Google is we do own YouTube. So for the first time ever, we are now able to, effective in July of this year, we are able to reach people based upon on YouTube, based upon what they searched in Google. So say, for example, I searched how to lower my energy bill. That is an opportunity for you guys to create actually video content that would be centered around ways in which to lower your energy bill. And then when me as a user went to YouTube, regardless of what I searched on YouTube or what sort of video content I wanted to engage with on YouTube, you could have a pre-roll video in that TrueView format that I talked about earlier appear ahead of the video content to that particular user. One of the main things too that we've also changed about YouTube is we want to make it easier for advertisers to allow consumers to take action. So you'll notice a new ad format on the right-hand side in which you could actually customize the text in that blue button, in that blue box to drive whatever it is that you want to do. So whether it's a rebate offer, whether it's learn more, whether it's try a new program, etc. There's some customizable action there. And then I think the thing that's most important and what's coolest about this type of ad format, the YouTube for Action format, is we could actually bid towards a specific cost per interaction. So say, for example, you're rolling out a new rebate program and you want to pay $10 per user to sign up for it. You could utilize what's called target CPA bidding. So target cost per acquisition bidding, set a bid of $10 in order to do that. And Google will utilize machine learning to capture users that they think will actually convert at that cost per acquisition. Here's an example of how it could work in practice. So I recently, as I had mentioned, moved and had a guest bedroom, needed to get an additional bed for it. So the online mattress space is actually something that's extremely competitive. There's the online space, and then there's also retail. So I conducted a couple of different searches over the course of a few different days. One was mattress store near me, one's online mattress, one's best mattress reviews, one's best online mattress delivery rates. So tons of different options of things that I searched on Google. And basically what Purple Mattress is able to do is they're able to take all of those different keywords and even take some of their highest performing keywords on their actual search campaigns, and then target users who are searching for those keywords on YouTube, and then serve a video ad to bring sight, sound, and motion to their brand, and then utilize some sort of offer such as buy now to drive traffic to their website. The reason why I think this is highly, highly effective is a lot of times people will be searching for like a specific product or a specific service or a specific action, but not necessarily have a particular brand, solution, or alternative in place when they're searching. And so being able to provide video context around a rebate program, maybe some sort of special offer, some rate assistance, etc., will help people realize ways in which they could save before they even are searching specifically for that given type of offer. So the reason why I think YouTube will be a great bet for any energy and utility company in 2019 is we have 1.9 billion global monthly logged in users and growing. So I'm sure all of you utilize YouTube on a regular basis. Over 70% of that watch time now happens on mobile. So again, if you're advertising on TV, YouTube would be a great way to complement that. Complement your messaging so that people are seeing it on their TV screens, but also on their mobile devices. 60% of people searching for a product on Google learn more about it by going to YouTube before they buy it, right? So that's what I was kind of hinting at earlier, talking about assistance programs, rebate offers, etc. You could learn more about it on YouTube before actually searching for it on Google and going forth and taking action there. And then YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world after Google itself. So there's a wealth of information that's there. So the final piece in terms of thinking about YouTube, right? YouTube has great what we call viewability. So people are 2 times more likely to pay attention to ads on YouTube or social media. One is the reason in which people go to YouTube is they go to YouTube to watch video content. People go to social media to get updates about their friends and see photos of their friends. They don't go there to see videos or interact with video. Users are 3 times more likely to pay attention to online video ads versus TV ads. The reason behind that is when I watch TV today, I jokingly say that I'm Instagramming while watching TV in the background, right? I have my cell phone that's typically next to me in which I'm getting text messages and I'm just, might be distracted. Maybe I get a phone call. Maybe I'm looking at something online while the TV's running in the background. And then maybe I'll have my laptop in front of me answering emails from Jim when he's shooting me notes late in the evening for client requests. No, I'm just kidding. Jim would never do that. But what I'm saying is when I'm watching TV, I'm often watching it in a distracted manner. Whereas when I'm engaging with YouTube, it's either I'm choosing to go to it on my laptop, youtube.com, or I am opening up the app on my cell phone. And then the final piece is 95% of all ads on YouTube are watched with the sound on. That's really, really key, especially for an energy and utility company that's trying to convey messaging via video. And then the final piece that I'll touch on is there's been 150% year-over-year growth of conversions generated by YouTube ads in the past 12 months. So from a consumer behavior standpoint, consumers are far more likely to take action as a result of seeing a video ad now more than ever. So just to recap some of the things that I talked about YouTube and why video is important. One, you can reach people based upon what they're searching on Google search on YouTube. You can make it super easy for them to take action by customizable ad format with whatever text you want to utilize. You could prove it works and optimize towards a specific target. So a specific goal in terms of the cost per interaction. a cost per acquisition, cost per install, whatever that may be. And then finally, you could switch up your creative on a consistent basis. And I've actually worked with some of Jim's clients to provide advice around what sort of creative works, as well as different video ad sequencing and story arcs that would complement their search strategy based upon the time of year and the offers that they have.
So obviously, we would love to have some of our attendees partner with XtraP. What does that look like? XtraP is a 14-year-old digital agency. We've got experience in almost any kind of digital tactic that you can think of at this point. As it pertains to energy utilities in particular, we work alongside your agency of record. So if you're currently working with an agency, that's totally fine. We'd love to have a conversation with you and explain how that works and what we've done in the past to make that a mutually beneficial relationship. We play well in the sandbox, so I think that given the level of expertise that we have here on our team and on the Google partner team, we would love to bring that to the table for you and for your agency. We've got millions of dollars of spend under management, which isn't so much just a boastful statement as just a matter of fact. We've worked with lots of different types of campaigns and lots of different types of tactics. And so if you have any ideas or notions of running some sort of a paid search campaign, run it by us first. I'd love to give you and share with you some of our learnings and best practices that we've seen over the years. We work with some of the largest utilities in the US. Obviously Eric's here, and we've got a dedicated team over at Google that is willing to lend a hand and jump in and help us put together a solid strategy around your campaign. On the right-hand side there, I just listed some of the residential and commercial campaigns, just examples that we've worked with in the past. There's probably lots of stuff in there that I didn't even list, but if you are considering running a campaign like this or something like this in 2019, by all means, please reach out to us. XtraP is also a premier Google partner. And so Eric can explain a little bit more about what this means, but this is essentially the highest level of Google partner that is there. And it comes with a massive set of resources on the back end. So.
Yeah, no, I'll just touch upon this briefly. Really, Google takes pride in terms of who we work with and who we give the premier badge to. It's essentially Google's highest honor that we can bestow upon an agency. There's three things that are factored into that. One is basically what Google does is we have the ability to crawl through all of the accounts under management that an agency has through what's called an MCC, and we're able to score the accounts. And then obviously the scores that are, in order to be a premier partner, you have to be in the top 10% of kind of the top 10% of agency health index. The second piece is that there has to be a total amount of revenue under management, meaning that the business is growing, and there's a consistent amount of spend that the agency is managing. The final piece is certifications. So Google, we're constantly changing our products and services to meet the needs of our consumers. So we want to ensure that the agencies that we're working with are taking the time to invest in themselves and provide and be able to provide the latest and greatest products to their customers.
Great. Thanks, Eric.
And in addition to myself, I have two other team members that are full-time Googlers that work with XtraP and have various different roles and responsibilities. Scott's really responsible for training kind of the account management team at XtraP, up-leveling their skill set. So maybe it be, hey, we want to focus some time and attention on improving the ability to target folks on YouTube. Scott would take the lead in the charge on that. And then McKenna actually helps facilitate three-way conversations between the agency, existing clients, and Google to help educate them on any new features that we might want to offer, or even any sort of particular guidance around what the client is offering. And there's a lot of different ways in which we partner. But there is a team of 3 full-time Googlers that works hand in hand with XtraP on a consistent basis.
That was a lot of information to digest there, probably like drinking water through a fire hose. We've got a few minutes here at the end of our session to take any Q&A that you guys might have. We're happy to answer as best as we can, given that Eric's here on the call with us. I do have one question here. We're interested in what you have to offer. However, we already have an agency of record. How can we leverage your resources? The best way to do that, Daniel, is just to reach out to us. We'd love to have that conversation, explain to you kind of partnerships and relationships that we've had with other AORs in the past and how that relationship works. And it's fairly seamless, but we'd love to get an idea of what your current situation is. Any other questions? Patty, did you see any additional ones on your end?
I think that was it.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, I'm back. So thanks so much, Jim and Eric. And thank you all for attending today. We really appreciate it, especially during this holiday season. And we will be sending out a replay. So if you have any other questions or would like to have a conversation about your search strategy, feel free to contact us. So thank you again and happy holidays.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.